Hey everybody, what's going on? Barrow here, back inside of Borderlands 2, and today we're going to go over something that a lot of people have been requesting in my Twitch streams, which is my one life setup. Now, I find it kind of basic, but I haven't really made a video on it, and people keep asking, so sure, why not? Let's go ahead and go over it. And for those who are not aware, the whole one life challenge is still going. It is still going, but I'm going to beat it. This actually does feel like it is going to be the attempt because we've had a lot of good luck going into this. But anyway, we're still in the middle of actually farming for all the gear that we need for the Overpower 8 playthrough and to kill all the raid bosses. That's really all we have left. But yeah, let's go ahead and go over what exactly we're using. So obviously we're using an Unkempt Herald here. Now, double penetrating, and we want to have a Tor grip. The reason the Tor grip is important is because we want to have a 2.3 reload. Now, the reload speed is important for a very major reason. This is your healing that, or rather my healing that I'm going to be using throughout the entire playthrough, and the longer the reload, the higher chance I have of dying. So I can't really use a Jacob's grip for dealing with things like Veracitus because that'll have, I believe, a 2.9 reload, and that's just far too long. Obviously, Grog Nozzle parts are relevant because it changes every single time that we load into the game. And then we have a level 28 Lady Fist. Now, this is going to be buffing my critical damage for when I can get easy crits, for example, Snowman or Terramorphous or whatever I end up fighting. If it's easy to crit, then I'll swap to a Lady Fist in my left hand. Now you'll notice it's level 28. That's because the level of the Lady Fist is basically completely irrelevant, but we are actually in the middle of farming for new Lady Fist. So I'll probably be getting a on-level slag version, so that way when I swap to the Lady Fist, I can still slag up my enemy. Now we have a therapeutic adaptive shield. Now the reason I like using an adaptive shield over a Rough Rider is because I like having a little bit of shield before they can dip into my health. You might say, why not just go get a Neo? Well, a Neo can take a long-ass time to farm. Or I could just get one of these and be perfectly fine. The difference between the two on Overpower 8 is barely noticeable because, well, enemies do a lot of damage. Now, for grenade mods, we don't really have any. We're still in the process of looking for a slag singularity with a 0 fuse. That's pretty much what we want. Level is actually irrelevant because I don't use grenades for damage. I use them for CC or crowd control, which means I want to keep the enemies stunned for as much as I can. And then for relics, we've got 33% damage relic for explosive. I do need to go get a sheriff's badge. That is another thing that we are working on getting. But I like having elemental relics because it makes my money shot, when it hits, is going to do a lot of damage. And Sheriff's Badge can potentially be a bad thing as well as a good thing. See, the benefit of a Sheriff's Badge is that you fire faster, which means faster healing. But it also means that you're going to be doing more reloads, which means less downtime. Or rather, more downtime between heals. So it's kind of a toss-up, but I will be getting a Sheriff's Badge for things like raid bosses and such. So that's the thing. Now the class mod is pretty much going to always be the legendary Berserker, and that's because of all the skills that it buffs. This pretty much guarantees that it's almost impossible to not have Berserker at all times. I probably worded that retardedly, but you know, you get the idea. You get to keep your Berserker at all times for this. Now, I do have a few other class mods that I sometimes use. That's actually a bad one. We're going to get rid of that. So I've got the Cocky Renegade, and the reason I want to use this is because 51% gun damage is a lot. And it's actually multiplicative with the Elemental Relic. So that is really nice. And if I want to use that for my Herald for fights that are short, for example, Tender Snowflake, then I can use things like this. I'll be just fine. I do have a Hoarder Comm for a little bit of bullet regen in case we run out in the peak, and then I've got a Lucky War Dog for 5 shots or 6 for farming the Bar Brawl. Which people have been asking for a method on how to farm Bar Brawl. If people really want that, let me know in the comments section. I didn't really think it was not necessary, but hey, people want it. I'll make it. Anyway, so we've got Legendary Berserker. We don't really need this. It just keeps popping up in my game because the game is like, hey, do you need a Legendary Berserker? No, game, I don't. Have a legendary Berserker. We've gotten a legendary of every single class now. It's great. All right, so now let's go ahead and go over the spec and why I pick all the things that I pick. First, let's go over Brawn. Go into Insight, not so much for the movement speed, but more for the reload speed. Like I said, we want to keep our reload as low as possible, so that way we have less downtime. You could go into Hard to Kill, but increasing your maximum health is fine, except for raid bosses, but the regeneration from this is not that high. I know I use it on my Bronador, but that's also because I'm using a Legendary Titan. Next, we have Asbestos to reduce the negative status duration of all status effects, but most importantly, Slag. Slag is huge. If you are slagged, it does not take very many bullets to kill you. Fistful of Hurt, so that way we have a method to stun enemies. Fistful of Hurt, while it doesn't do too much damage, is very, very important for stunning enemies. I don't know how many times I've had a suicide bomber walk up to me about to explode, and I just punch him away, and then we do the whole thing over again. Next, we have Inconceivable. That way we can potentially money shot chain and less time between reloads. Lasts longer, so that way we can keep our Gunzerk. All in the reflexes for more reload speed. Then we have Steady as She Goes. I remove this if I go Gronkfist combo, but for right now, I want to have it because the Herald is wildly inaccurate. Double Your Fun. Really, this skill is not going to have too much use, and I'm probably going to be putting the last point into Yippee-Ki-Yay, or maybe I can get away with putting it into Lay Waste. Who knows? I'll have to check and see if that's possible, but I really don't use this too much. This is more of a leveling skill, so I'll probably be moving that somewhere else. And then obviously we have Yippee-Ki-Yay to regenerate our Gunzerk. We only have 3 points in there because I'm with legendary Gunzerker, then I have 8 out of 5, and that's plenty. That's more than enough to keep your Gunzerk up. Then Get Some, and the special about this is that if I shoot something while I'm Gunzerking, my Gunzerk will regenerate. I figured that one was pretty simple, but I get a lot of questions on that one. And then we have Keep Firing. This makes it so that way the longer I hold down the trigger, the more damage that I do. And now we have Locked and Loaded, which I keep saying looks like a dude playing an arcade. Just look at it, man. Just look at it. I know it's the back end of a pistol. I know. But anyway, we have Locked and Loaded for a little bit of extra reload, or for extra fire rate. I'm your Huckleberry for extra reload and extra damage. We don't really go into quick draw because I don't find it necessary to swap that much, and 10% crit is all I need is 1 is also bad. We're never going to use this. Then we have Money Shot for obvious reasons. Very strong, powerful skill. We're not going to be using a Chaotic Evil Monk class mod or anything like that because I don't want to be in a position where my Gunzerk is down. If I'm in combat and my Gunzerk is down, I'm in a bad situation, and I don't want to be in that situation. So, yeah, not going to go for Chaotic Evil class mod. Autoloader is completely useless, so we're going to bypass that. Divergent Lightness, because most of the time we are going to be using 2 pistols most of the time, so we'll be getting extra 30% gun damage. Then we're going to have Down Not Out, so if we go down, we don't lose our Gunzerk. One of the most important skills for a Gunzerker, because there are times where you do go down, and if you have to get back up with no Gunzerk, you're going to have a rough time. Now, Keep Piping Hot is good, because when you're Gunzerking and you proc Get Some, you actually get to have this bonus for the entire time. So, really nice skill to have. Basically just a flat 25% gun damage, 25% grenade damage. And the grenade damage is important because the splash from the Herald is counted as grenade damage. So you will want to have that. And then finally we have No Kill Like Overkill, which, depending on how much damage you do, can go upwards of ×5 to your damage. And this is actually multiplicative, meaning that whatever damage you do, you can literally just apply a 5 to it. That's it. Just multiply it by a potential of 5, and that is the damage you could be doing, which is why No Kill Like Overkill is so good. And it does affect things like B and crits and Money Shot and all that good stuff. So really nice skill to have there. And that should really go over our build. Now, as far as other weapons that I will be acquiring, I need to get a Heartbreaker. Most importantly, it needs to have a Hyperion grip and a reactive a reactive prefix. Reason for that is because I need to have a 2.3 reload Heartbreaker for surviving Veracitus. And then the other thing I'm going to need to find is, now you'll see that these turtle shields right here, I can buy one of those. You'll see my maximum health right there. We're going to actually lower our maximum health, and we want to get a shield that basically lowers me to around 15,000 health while still having an alkaline prefix to it. So that's another thing that we're going to have to farm for, and that is what I will be using for Veracitus. That way only I have to have like maybe one pellet hit Vorak before I can get a full heal. And yes, he can still down you even when doing all of that. Vorak is bullshit. Now people are probably going to ask, why are you playing as Salvador? Why are you going to do that? Why not just go kill him as Krieg, kill him as Maya? No class can walk into the Vorak fight and walk out consistently, except for Salvador. But I saw this Jolts no. Yes, there are a lot of methods. None of them are consistent, meaning none of them will allow you to walk into, which, by the way, nothing against Jolts, dude. I was just using that as an example because I get that a lot. I love you, dude. Yeah. But none of them can walk in and out of that fight without the extremely high potential of dying. And most of those kills that you see, hell, even the ones that I put up, require near perfection in gear and in execution. And it's not something you're just going to be able to just whip out and just be like, all right, let's do this. I'm ready to kill myself for Veracitus. So, yeah, that is all the things of why I'm doing that. Plus, Krieg did make it through the peak, so I'm proud of that. Krieg did finish his journey. He made it to the end, and he made it to OP8. I'm happy where Krieg's at. But now I want Veracitus, and I want his head, and it's going to happen. Hopefully. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. This should be everything for my Overpower 8 playthrough and everything. Wow, I've been rambling on for like 12 minutes. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to hit the like button and be sure to suggest what you would like to see for future content. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video, everybody. Later.